Welcome to the Nurse Shark Academy Show, a Baxter Professional Services production. Welcome to the Nurse Shark Academy Show, where we're experts in nursing and experts in business. I'm Tina Baxter, your host. The Nurse Shark Academy Show highlights nurse business owners and others in the healthcare field who promote entrepreneurship. Today's guest is Tierra Owen, and today's episode, how one nurse looking for financial security found success as an entrepreneur.
What made me become a nurse? Well, a lot of people told me that I should be a nurse as I was growing up, and I didn't agree with them. So I had other plans. I had other thoughts about things that I wanted to do. I was really always interested in the medical field. I ended up working with women and being a doula. So I had my own business in my late 20s. Doing that was a lot of fun. And finally, on the back end of doing that for a while and being on call for quite a while, one of my people that I was actually apprenticing to be a midwife with, she said, Tierra, it's never, ever a bad decision to go to nursing school and become a nurse. And it was really just, I think, that little bit of that tip that kicked me off into nursing school and really was getting pretty tired of that on-call, that 24/7 on-call time that I was doing at that. And I thought, I think this would be really good for a family to be able to have shifts and time allotted for work. And that's where it all started.
Attention nurses, looking to take your nursing knowledge and turn it into a viable business? Ready to take action, but don't know where to start? Join the Nurse Shark Academy. We support nurses as business owners and leaders. We offer career and entrepreneurial coaching for nurses or other healthcare professionals. Whether you're a brand new nurse, a seasoned health professional, or building a startup, join a community of support. Entrepreneurship can be lonely, but it doesn't have to be. Our career and business coaching services are designed to help you achieve the life-work balance you desire. Our experienced coaches will help you identify and attain your career and business goals, enabling you to become more successful in both your personal and professional life. I'm Tina Baxter. I founded the Nurse Shark Academy because I believe every nurse is a hero on his or her own epic journey. Nurses are launching new businesses every day. You don't have to do it alone. Join the Nurse Shark Academy and get the support, training, and coaching that you need to launch your successful nurse business. Become a member at the nursesharkacademy.biz. Welcome to the Nurse Shark Academy Show. I'm Tina Baxter, your host. The Nurse Shark Academy Show highlights nurse business owners and others in the healthcare field who promote entrepreneurship. We interview nurse leaders and encourage them to tell their story. My mission is for you to own your seat at the table of nurse entrepreneurship, gaining the confidence, skills, and freedom to live your life on your own terms. You will dream big and expand your consciousness as an entrepreneur. Join us and support these wonderful nurse entrepreneurs and leaders. Today's guest is Tierra Owen of Nursing Ourselves out of Santa Cruz, California. Welcome to the show, Tierra.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Tina. I really appreciate being here.
Great. Now, I want to ask you, our first question is, what made you become a nurse?
Well, what made me become a nurse is that I did not have a plan to become a nurse. So it was kind of a default decision. In a way, I had been working with women in childbirth. So midwifery apprenticeship, doula, and really got a little bit ground down by the on-call time. It would take like a month off a year, but everything else was kind of 24/7. And the midwife that I was working with at the time was kind of a mentor to me. And she said, I just don't ever think it's a bad idea to go to nursing school. I think there's just so much you can do with it. I think you should consider it. And I did. And I went for it and never looked back.
All right. Well, I think that's kind of wonderful because you said you started out as an entrepreneur, as a doula. So this is a little bit different because a lot of nurses start out as nurses and then become entrepreneurs, but you actually went the other route. So what was that like, making that shift from having your own business, setting your own hours, to now suddenly you're having to work a shift according to someone else's time?
Correct. Yeah. No, it's really true. And before that, I owned a farm. So I was really, had been in business for myself for over a decade. I think that I was looking forward to more security, right? I mean,
Mhm.
that's kind of the trade-off that we have in entrepreneurship is that, until we get our businesses really well off the ground, the security piece is a big jump. And I was looking for time that I could just devote to work. When you're an entrepreneur, you have to really make clear boundaries with yourself in terms of when's not work time and when's work time. Otherwise, it just bleeds into everything that you do. And I think at that time in my life, I had was just looking at getting married. I had a child, but I really wanted to have another child, and I just felt like this just feels like the right thing to do at this stage in my life is to be able to have that position that I can, I had the benefits. I had the ability to take time off, and all of that was super attractive to me at the time.
I have to admit, I that's the one of the things that I like about kind of being a hybrid at this point. I
Mhm.
don't have that worry of having to pay for insurance, or if I want to take a vacation, that means I don't get paid during that time. So I have that luxury of
Mhm.
kind of having my foot in both worlds. And I
Yeah.
think as you start, that's important in business,
Yep.
right? And so I've been able to launch my business without having to take out a business loan because it's one of my coaches and mentors says, your 9 to 5 is your best business loan that you can
No, it's
have.
true. It's true.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So where did you work? Where did you go first of all, where did you go to school? And then what was your first job out of nursing?
Yeah. So it's so interesting. I really only had one job. I went to school in Santa Cruz, California, or Aptos. We have a great nursing college here called Cabrillo College. I had already gotten a bachelor's degree. And at that time, nurses weren't really being pushed. We're talking about early 2000s here to get that bachelor's degree. And I had one, so I wasn't really looking to go to university again. I wanted to make it as cost effective as possible. And it was a great program. So went to school here. I had already been working at the hospital where I got my first job. So I was able to get a little position doing lactation technician. So I kind of think of your scrub tech or your OR
Mhm.
tech. I was the tech for the lactation department, which was a lot of fun. I got my foot in the door to be doing some clinical work and to support clinical work. And then out of nursing school, they hired me right into labor and delivery. So I was super lucky. I mean, I wasn't a new grad situation, but I wasn't a new grad program or anything that was really designed for new grads because I had already so much experience in the field of birth. They knew that, and I was already working there. And the funny answer to your question is that's the only job I ever worked. I worked that job for 20 years. It was such a good position. And kind of go full circle on what you were just talking about, having a foot in both worlds. I left that position in 2021 to just really want to launch my own business at that point and felt ready to do so. I went back to school for a little bit, but I ended up circling back there. So now, again, I also do have a foot in both worlds. I'm working per diem though, so it's a little bit different, right? I don't have those additional benefits that you probably have having a pointed or more than a part-time position. Um, but it affords me the ability to have something that's stable, that's going to show up for me in terms of income and have the flexibility to work a lot or a little based on my needs at the time. If I have a lot of business to do, then I'll focus there. And if I don't, I'll put extra hours into so I'm a lactation consultant now. So I went from tech to consultant and yeah, it's been fun.
It's great because nursing, we have that flexibility. We don't always get that in
Mhm.
other professions, but in nursing, we have such great flexibility that we can move in and out and do things that maybe other people can't. To go from being the doula and attending the births, and I'm glad we're mentioning that because there are other types of doulas
Mhm.
that's at
Yeah.
the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, totally.
Um, and so it's nice to be able to go and work in that position. You were there for, you said, 20 years. I applaud you for that. Midwifery and birth and babies was never my thing. My specialty is gerontology and psychiatry. Okay. So
Okay.
send me the people with Alzheimer's and dementia, and I'm a happy person.
Yeah.
So I say that to say that I think it's wonderful that you found what you loved and was able to stick with it, and now still have some aspect of it that you're still doing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Me too.
Yeah. So tell me about your business. What's
Yes.
your business?
So now, yeah, kind of coming full circle, I ended up getting a coaching degree. It was in a really great program as a master's of coaching. And through that program, it set me on a big path in terms of, what do I feel like is really missing in the nursing world? And where do I feel like, because I really felt like always, like I wanted to honor nurses, like, sisters, brothers, like there's just a connection. When you meet somebody that's also a nurse, you're like, you're a nurse? Wait, what? So it's just this immediate connection that usually forms. And so having an audience of nurses, having a community or a niche of nurses that I really wanted to support, I found the whole was honestly for myself, right? So where do businesses often develop is that piece in yourself that you're trying to work on, right? So I found that space in the financial industry. So what's really interesting about that, let me back up a little bit. When I left my position, I took a really part-time position in an integrative clinic. Okay.
Mhm.
And this is my first time as a nurse ever working with sick people. I was like, oh wow, this is wait, men and women and like they're super sick and like going through these really hard things. I had always felt like I was at work, and we were just doing like multiple weddings and fiestas and like these amazing celebrations, right? I mean, most of the time it was like that. Sometimes it was really hard and tragic, but most of the time it was great times. So working with sick people for the first time and working in this integrative clinic, these were some really sick people that had been through very, very often the allopathic medicine journey, right? They had gone through lots of chemos, some surgeries, radiation, immunotherapy, like lots of different therapies. And then they would often come to us with like a lot of stress, maybe still sick, maybe trying to keep themselves well, but they would come in and they'd pin up their medical GoFundMe's on the wall. And I didn't really get it because I didn't understand that if you have health insurance, like what's happening in terms of you don't have any money, right? Of coverage. Well, I'll just give for example, cancer can be 500,000 to $1 million diagnosis, right? And health insurance does not cover all that.
That's right.
Usually it's 80% somewhere in that realm. The people can't work and all of a sudden they're stuck with a 100 to $200,000 medical bill. Plus they're not working,
Right.
right? So I just was really woken up. And so seeing my own position, like I have maybe 6 months savings, but I don't have like an extra safety net that's there for me financially in case something were to happen to me. And I got introduced to this solution called living benefits through another nurse that was working this. And I thought, you know what? Every nurse that I know of needs to know about these. And that's what started me on my journey of my own business in the financial industries.
Okay. So for those that don't know or don't understand, can you explain what living benefits means?
Absolutely. So, living benefits is life insurance you don't have to die to use. So, most people, most Americans have been kind of burned into their psyche that life insurance is what you get when you die, or your beneficiaries get when you die.
Mhm.
So, it's really a game of I'm going to pay for this thing that I'm betting I'm going to die. And the life insurance company is betting that you won't. And that's how they keep their business afloat.
Mhm.
But when I saw that, wait a second, you can actually use that money while you're still alive. Tell me more. And what it looks like is being able to accelerate the face amount of your policy up to $1.5 million in this case for things like cancer, heart attack, stroke, Alzheimer's disease, any kind of chronic illness where you can't walk or shower or have activities of daily living, terminal illness. So just imagine those people that were in that clinic that I saw, the light bulb went on that like there is a solution for middle America. We're the ones that don't have $1 million in our bank account to
Right.
cover this stuff. And we're not on the other end where we're able to tap into programs that are going to support us through that.
Mm-hmm.
So, my audience being nurses, I set out on a journey to tell as many nurses as possible that these exist and that you can support yourself and your family very well with one having that income replacement if something were to happen.
Well, I think that that would be awesome to have that benefit. And I know that unfortunately, when it comes to health insurance and life insurance and things like that, a lot of us as nurses don't take advantage of the things that are offered to us or aren't knowledgeable about them. And so you just sign up for whatever plan your employer has for you and think that's going to cover everything.
Right. Right. Yeah, absolutely, Tina. I think that in this industry in particular, we're such givers. Our energy is usually so focused on others, whether it be our career and our colleagues and our patients, and or maybe a family in there too, often a family. We don't really take the time to see, what's underneath us, protecting us and helping us to, get to a place in our careers where we're kind of starting to look at the end of our career and transferring over into like into a retirement, or even if something were to happen to us along the way, whether it's, dying too soon, hopefully not. But if we were to have a major medical or illness event, or even an injury event, to kind of, throw a curveball in that journey. So, I really am so interested and curious, and I would love and be curious of your audience thoughts and your thoughts about this. You know, what are the roadblocks besides what I talked about just now in terms of, as nurses, we're often looking to other. Um, why don't we peek under the hood? Why don't we look a little deeper in terms of what we have, know our numbers, so to speak, so that we can actually just be more informed, raise our consciousness collectively around this topic?
Well, I have to say for me and from what I've been seeing, nurses are just tired. They're just tired. And it would seem like one more thing to do. And
Yes.
given the fact that we are exposed to sickness and death and everything, to think about that for your own self or for your family
Mm-hmm.
can feel really too close and
Yeah.
be uncomfortable. And
Yeah.
so a lot of times we don't want to talk about it. How many nurses have their own advanced directives completed?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah, great. Or trust,
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
good point. Yeah. So in terms of solutions that I offer, and just in your listeners and, also other nurses that I come in contact and speak for, being able to do these engagements like these podcasts or be able to speak at an event, it's really emphasizing, hey, let's build a relationship.
Hmm.
Let's walk through what you have. Let's learn together. Let's really handhold. That's another thing that nurses do incredibly well. They will handhold their patients to the finish line, helping them to understand all the parts and pieces. So I think that word doula kind of comes back to me,
Hmm.
that financial doula, I think could be like another headline for me. I haven't quite claimed that yet, but I think it fits.
I think it fits it. I think you should trademark it quickly.
Maybe I should.
Yeah. I think that would resonate with nurses because you think about financial planners, you think about those are people that are millionaires and I don't have enough money for you to plan, right? I mean that's how
Mhm.
we think a lot of times.
Totally.
We kind of think small. Who wants to talk to me? We always know that we can always make more, right? We always think, oh, well, I can buy that bag today because I know I can work an extra shift and pay for it. So why should I
Totally.
plan for tomorrow? I mean, there's all these reasons why we might not make the best financial choices.
Yes.
And it takes one catastrophic illness, one car wreck, one bad diagnosis, and the world could fall out from under you.
Yeah.
And I because I talk to people about getting their wills done and their advanced directives, A lot of times I hear, well, if I don't think about it, it won't happen. But if I get things ready, then something will happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, isn't that a yeah, that's such a strange way to think about things. I know that one of the things we used to do, in the labor and delivery. Are you familiar with smudging? What that term is, using like the dried sage, they
Yes.
it's kind of
Yes.
yeah, so they take that smoke, right, and they
Hmm.
purify it and they cleanse the area. Well, one of the things that we used to do at deliveries, and this is kind of the opposite of what you're talking about, is if we were having a delivery that was just not looking too good, we were like kind of setting up the OR, we were setting up the nursery, we're ready to bring, we always called that smudging the nursery because we were sort of planning ahead that we were going to prep that nursery for this baby. We were going to make some calls, we are going to put some things in place. And often, if we were prepared, that event never happened. It's almost like we were just kind of clearing that space and bringing in this great energy of protection to this baby.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
sometimes it didn't, it really served us well. It's just like these kinds of things. It's like, people are going to be so incredibly proud of themselves for making a decision to have a tool like this if and when the event comes. And if they don't and they know about it, they're probably going to be pretty upset with their decision.
Yes. Yes. It's the conversations of, oh, I wish I had that test when I first found that lump, right? We were talking about this in another group and how people are so afraid to find out information.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy was saying, yeah, they won't go to the doctor because they're afraid they'll have something. And I just had my mammogram, and I was thinking, well, nope, that's not me. I've already been.
Yeah.
I said, if I've been through this before, had the biopsy and everything.
Yep.
I said, if there's something there, I'd rather know now than wait till later. And it's, there's
Yep.
nothing you can do about it. So I've always
Yep.
been a preacher of prevention. I'm like, let's go prevent as much as we can so that maybe I don't have to go to the doctor at all
It's
if I
such a
take care of
wise
myself.
strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had a nurse that, unfortunately, with somebody that was pretty close to me, just last spring, kind of walking and talking through all of these things and getting her to know the process, etc. And she fell a little bit off my radar. Couldn't get a hold of her. We were trying to help get something in place. And she came back to me. I don't know what it was, a month or 6 weeks later, and she's like, "I wish I would have. I just got diagnosed with breast cancer." And if the timing was, right, I mean, maybe she already had breast cancer. Maybe it would have,
Hmm.
shown up in terms of the underwriting or a future pending appointment or something like that. But still, like at that exact scenario, I had personal experience with, and it was like, oh, if I could only, take away her pain because, she's dealing with something so heavy. And I would hate for anybody to kick themselves and feel like that.
Yes. 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 And so, how would someone who's listening, how would they get in touch with you?
Well, I'm just going to say phone number
Okay.
831-201-3656. Text me, call me. We can do a policy review. We can take a look at what you have. We can go through this as slowly or as quickly as you want to, just to build a relationship of trust. That's really the bottom line. And then the other piece is I hang out on LinkedIn. I don't have a website because it's not really something that you can just read about and understand. I want to build relationships. And so direct message me, Tierra Owen on LinkedIn, reach out to connect with me, and we can take it from there.
Okay. All right. So again, that information will be in our show notes for those of you that want to get a hold of her. Certainly look that up. And so I think this is a very important topic and conversation. And I wonder, do you ever do any like educational things, like seminars or something like that on your own, like maybe on a LinkedIn audio event or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking to set some of those up. I'm also doing some speaking locally. So if you are in the Santa Cruz area, that's something that we can talk about. And then also, we work with local working groups and have speaking engagements through them. And so yeah, so watch out, if you're in the space of LinkedIn, because I will always post or publish, what's up and coming in terms of some of those more public events. And yeah, that's definitely a direction. Thank you.
Okay, great, great. So our last question we always ask is if you had a piece of advice for a budding entrepreneur, what
Oh,
would
yeah.
it be?
I would say go easy on yourself, especially if you're a nurse and you're working in a position. Take your time to develop your idea. See if you can get a test market, even a practice place to see if you have a good solution, that it's marketable. And I think that the other piece is just don't be afraid to tell and talk about it. I mean, I think when you are in the space of having it depends on what kind of business that you're in, but if you're in the space of having a position and having a business, you do have to be careful about that line. But out there in the world, like, just get really comfortable about being uncomfortable. Market yourself. Let people know that you have something and that usually those things are pieces of passion. So just let yourself shine through that and do whatever you can to get the kind of coaching to allow yourself to be in that marketing space and being able to tell, and not only tell but like tell a story, right?
Yes.
Because we kind of find that, like, you know teaching or educating is not telling, right? But when you can talk about your product, you can talk about your service through a story, it really really connects with people. And I think I always think about Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
He says, people don't, what do they say? People don't buy what you have, they buy why you do it.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right. Well, that's a great piece of advice, and I thank you for that. It's funny you said that because I was in a Facebook group. I'm in a Facebook group,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a nurse. He happens to be a male,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just very negative about his business
Mm-hmm.
and about the lack of perceived support, and in particular from this group.
Mm-hmm.
And the moderator is like, well, we've given you advice. We've tried to help you. You've been around this group since, and I checked, he's been in the group since 2016, right?
Oh, that's a long time.
But he's no further along in his business.
Mm-hmm.
And he's struggling. And everything that he said was very negative about what other people were doing. Like he talked about going to an event and he was trying to talk to this woman about his product or whatever. And she was clutching her purse like he was going to rob her. So he felt some kind of way about it. And I'm thinking, I said, well, I'm wondering, how did you approach her? Right. I say that to say that I love that quote that you gave because I think that's part of his problem. Um, it's the way he's approaching his sales, and it's the fact that he wants to push product at people and they're backing away in some way. And just from the way he was talking in his conversation. But I think if he had talked to you and kind of explained why he was doing what he was doing and why he believes in what he has, I think that might go a long way for what he's doing. He happens to be selling scooters, and I'm thinking, well, who's your market? And I kept asking him, and he kept saying, I've done all that. I've done all that. I was like, you don't do it just once, you know, you got to do it again and again and
Yeah.
again. This is a refining process.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I appreciate your insights. It would definitely will be very helpful. And I will get this information up in our show notes for our listeners so that they can get in contact with you to learn more about it. And if you
Wonderful.
have your next seminar, let us know and we'll put it up
Okay.
there so we can promote it.
Definitely.
We'll cross promote with you.
Thank you, Tina.
You're welcome. So I want to say thank you to everyone who is watching us on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when our next episode comes live. Also, those of you that are listening through Podbean or wherever you're getting your podcast for our audio version, thank you again. Leave us a like and a comment and a review. We appreciate you. If you're wanting to be a guest on the show, always you can get to know us at the nurseSharkAcademy.biz. You can get in contact with us there. And if you know of a nurse that you think would be a good asset on the show and has a great story to tell, let me know. Thank you and bye bye for now.
Bye.
Nurses, are you ready for more? My mission is for you to own your seat at the table of nurse entrepreneurship, gaining confidence, skills, and the freedom to live your life on your own terms. Assisting you in achieving your goals through tailored advice, continuous learning, and a collaborative approach is at the heart of everything I do. Stop being eaten alive. Come feel the sun. Be a nurse shark. Thank you for listening to the Nurse Shark Academy show wherever you get your podcasts or watching us on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you'll know when all of our episodes come out. If you want further information, you can contact us on the nursesharkacademy.biz.